Hey, this is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. Let's have some fighting words. In this video, I want to do a fight breakdown for Jermell Charlo with his upcoming fight with Brain Castano. I've already done a fight breakdown for Brain Castano. It's already up on the channel. Please check it out. Please like, please subscribe to that. And as always, to this channel, please like, please subscribe. Also, please share with your friends, with whoever. When you're going to the gym or you're just having casual conversation, bring up fighting words. But in this video, we're going to do a fight breakdown for Jermell Charlo. So let's just jump right into it. So there were a lot of things to gather from the last fight, the first fight with Brain Castano and Jermell Charlo. And I've looked at it a few times over. And this is just my list of things that, Jermell Charlo should continue doing because he had much success when he did these things. Let's see. The first thing would be first. Jermell Charlo started off very strong, very, very fast-paced. As always, he's an aggressive fighter. He's got a lot of knockouts. He likes getting knockouts, and he goes aggressively for that knockout very early. A lot of people like to set things up, and, hopefully they could kind of soften a guy up, round 1, 2, 3, and then try to get him out of there 4 or 5 or something like that. But Jermell Charlo, he goes right for it, goes right for the kill from round 1. So be first. He had a lot of success against Brain Castano just being first. Brain Castano was picking his spots for his shots, mainly when it was in the corners or on the ropes. In which case, all that real estate in the middle, the center of the ring, was all Jermell Charlo. And we saw it. Like, literally, every time he got to the center of the ring, it was all him all day. And he could pretty much do what he wanted at any given point. And that's mostly where all his scoring was landing. The second was keep the pressure. Keep the pressure. Although Brain Castano has a high guard, and he's a little shorter, Jermell Charlo's pressure allowed for him to get off and be first. Like, it allowed for it. Just his speed, his, constantly moving forward. The pressure sometimes breaks people. So you don't always necessarily have to be necessarily doing something for that pressure, but the pressure breaks people. And this was a good fight if he was consistent with his pressure. A lot of times, in this fight with Jermell Charlo, for some reason, when he was fighting Castano the first fight, I just felt like he took his foot off the gas a few times. He actually had Castano hurt 3 times, but out of 3 times there was one time where it seemed as if he was going to get him out of there. And for some reason, and I mentioned this in other videos, also the Brain Castano video, for some reason, he just took his foot off the gas. Now, I don't know why. I can't explain why. The only thing that I can chalk it up to is maybe he got a little bit tired. But then again, if you have a guy that hurt and backing off and, trying to defend himself and you're on go, I still don't understand why he could just muster up a little bit more just to finish the guy off or get him out of there. But either case, keep the pressure. The pressure was working. The pressure did work. This fight was great because there was a lot of back and forth. Once it was in the center, like I said, it was all Jermell Charlo. However, when it was on the ring or in the corner, it was Brain Castano all day. So keep the pressure. Dictate what this fight is with your pressure and keep him in the center so you can get him out of there. Another thing that Jermell did that was really well, which he always does, and if you've noticed throughout his fights, he's been improving, his jab. He has a very consistent jab. A lot of guys, they'll actually have good jabs, but they won't be consistent with them. It's just like a jab here, a jab there. Sometimes I look at guys and you could tell they're only jabbing just to stay busy because they know judges are scoring or something like that. But Jermell Charlo, he has a really solid jab. Actually, both the Charlo brothers have really solid jabs. And he's not only trying to score. Jermell Charlo can actually knock you out with a jab. He's putting that much into that jab. So it's not some lazy jab, and it's definitely not something just to show the judges that he's working. It's something to get you out of there. It's something to line you up. It's something to keep you busy, and it's something that can potentially hurt you. So keep your jab. It worked really well in the first fight. Don't lose that. If I'm assuming he is definitely adjusting in camp. Do not lose that. Another thing where, here's the thing with Jermell Charlo. He goes 100 miles an hour, and he starts off 100 miles an hour. But when you do that, you can't always keep that pace. So that 100 miles an hour, by probably like the fourth or the fifth round, is like maybe like 90 miles an hour or 85 miles an hour, which is still fast. But however, your pace has stopped. Your tempo has slowed down. So in doing so, now, if you're going 100 miles an hour, all I can do is this. I can just like try to defend myself or cover up or whatever. However, if you take your foot off the gas a little bit and you go like 85 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour, that's enough for me to be a little bit more comfortable. And you could see where Brain Castano, especially in the latter end of the fight, he was coming out of that shell. He was literally coming out of his shell. And not only coming out of his shell, he started walking down Jermell Charlo because Jermell Charlo took his foot off the gas. Because Jermell Charlo, his pace went from to like slow down. Just, and that's going to work against you. So you have to find a pace that you can keep consistently throughout the fight. You can't be 100 miles an hour round 1, 2, and 3, 4, and then bring it down to the 70s, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9, 10, 11, 12. You're at like 60. And now you got to muster yourself back up. It's not, number one, you can't always rely on yourself to get mustered up. As you learned in the first fight, because you literally had him out of there, but you took your foot off the gas. And again, I just don't know why, but you took your foot off the gas. So you can't allow yourself to think you're going to have that in the end, because you may not have it. You may not have it. You're throwing bombs, and Jermell Charlo doesn't know how to like touch jab. He knows how to like kill jab. So you need to learn how to preserve your energy, because this guy took you the distance before. We already know he's tough. We already know he's durable. We already know he can take a punch. So you need to prepare yourself for 12 rounds. So pace yourself. Learn how to tie your man up. I've been saying this in a lot of videos, actually, that a lot of these guys, there are a few fighters in particular, especially the Charlos, both of them, but Jermell Charlo in particular, since he's the one we're talking about right now, learn how to tie guys up. It was almost as if when he was on the ropes against Brain Castano, the man was completely out of it. Like he did not know what to do. Like he was literally a fish out of water. Dry land, just didn't know what to do. He's just covering. I'm like, dude, grab his arms. Like, what are you doing? Grab his arms, turn around, get out of there. Simple as that. Hold on to him until the ref breaks you up. Whatever, but do something. He wasn't throwing back. He didn't tie him up. He didn't try to get out on the sides or anything like that. He just stood there and he just took the punishment. So the one thing that I've been saying in these videos is Kenny Porter, the father of Sean Porter. Sean is now retired. I do believe he's coming back, but Sean is now retired. He's taught his son very well how to tie guys up, twist them around, muscle them around. Now they're the ones on the rope. And you're the one with your back out that's free. So now with your back out and free, you have options. You can back off and give some space and take a breather. You can apply the pressure to them now. You can beat on them. There's so many things you can do, because now you have the space and you have the comfort of knowing there's nothing behind you. You can actually back away. But Charlo didn't know how to do any of that. And he was completely lost in those moments. And those were the moments and the rounds when Castano definitely took full advantage of his inexperience on the ropes. Now I'm going to go into the things not to do again. Like, these are the things for Jermell Charlo not to do again. The first would be to stop stopping. So like I mentioned earlier, he had a point in the fight where it looked like he had Castano out of there. And it wasn't like he slowed down the pace of the punches or the impact of the punches. He literally stopped. Now, okay, you're probably saying, well, okay, you're talking about one fight in one instance. It's not the first time he's done this. I don't know why he does it. Maybe he just felt like the guy's not as hurt as he appears to be. Maybe the guy's bluffing. I don't know, because I don't know what you see in there. It's different when we're sitting out here and then you're the one in the ring. It's totally different. So I don't know what you see, but it's not the first time you've literally come to a complete halt and have stopped and then allowed your man to rally back. I don't know what that's about. Again, I'm just going to chalk that up to maybe cardio, maybe you're tired. I don't know. Maybe he hit you, a little harder to the body than what it looked like, and you had to take a breather, and you used that momentum to get him off of you. I don't know. But it's not the first time he's done that. I've seen him do that. Now I think this is the third time, actually. Not with Castano, but just with other fighters. Tony Harrison, he did that as well. So don't do that anymore. Don't just stop. I mean, if anything, tie him up or bully him around. Just wrestle him, do something, or just back away completely. Get your bearings and then go back in, but don't literally just stop and then hold ground while you stop. That made no sense to me. Another thing, I just spoke about it, but do not get caught in those ropes. It is clear you are a fish out of water. I just had to say it again. It is clear you are a fish out of water. You are totally and completely uncomfortable with your back to the ropes or just being in a corner where you can't go this way or this way and you're stuck. So don't do that anymore. If you see yourself about to go to the ropes because Brian Castano was walking him down, shimmy on out. Like, simple as that. Get out the back door. No shame in that. You can still reclaim your ground, but you don't belong on those ropes. You don't belong in that corner because you don't know what to do when you're there. So don't do that again. Gas out. Here's the problem with big punchers. They gas out. And that's what I was talking about. You're 100 miles an hour. You can't do that. Like, you need to find a great place. Listen, 90 miles an hour. Just start round one from 90 miles an hour and stay consistent with your 90 miles an hour. And hopefully, in the end, you will have your preserves. In which case, if you do feel like you have your man hurt, you can go in your preserves and you can get him up out of there. But don't go 110 miles an hour and then by round 10, you're at like 60 miles an hour because you're going to need that. You're going to need that. We now know you... Not to say that you can't get him out of there. You had him hurt a few times the first fight. But it's looking like this man is a little bit more durable, a little bit more tough, a little bit more sustainable when it comes to punches than what you might be able to provide. So therefore, you need a pace that you can keep, and you can keep consistently from round 1 to 12. All right, so this segment, I just call it something new. Mix up the punches. Jermell Charlo loves straight punches. He loves them. The problem is Brian Castano is smaller, shorter, and he has an eye guard. So a lot of that stuff that you were hitting him with, they were bouncing off his forearms, hitting him in the shoulder. A lot of those punches weren't clean. So you need to try some other punches. Because he has a high guard, he can't see everything coming. Body work, trust me, it will work. Uppercut. Both the Charlos actually have really great uppercuts. And it's only the big Charlo, Jermell, who uses them more frequently. But Jermell actually has beautiful uppercuts when he uses them, which is like every once in a blue moon. I don't understand why he doesn't use them that much. But Brian Castano is the perfect physical opponent to use those uppercuts because he's shorter and because of that guard that he has. It's all real estate, and you can cut in there. So, again, uppercuts, and, do a check hook. Just slide off. It would work because he literally can't see it. So it's going to work. So mix it up a little bit more. Love your straight punches, but in this particular fight, somebody who's very defensive minded, it's not gonna fly. It worked with Tony Harrison because Tony Harrison had his hands down half the time talking trash to you. Brian Castano is not talking trash to you. So there you go. It's not going to work. So you need to mix it up a little bit more. I just said it. Attack the body. Go after the body. A sustained body attack. You've seen what happened last time when you went upstairs and you attacked. You didn't quite pull it through. However, if you attack the body first, those hands will drop. Then those straight punches in the latter end of the fight, you might be able to get your guy out of there this time around. I've already talked about tying Castano up. Because, again, I am really frustrated with seeing Jermell Charlo on those ropes. Learn how to tie your man up. So here's the last thing I want to say about this in this fight breakdown. I am a little worried about this fight coming up. So as you all know, Jermell Charlo has a twin brother, Jermell Charlo. And the last time when Jermell lost, Jermell had his fight right after Jermell. And he didn't do too well. And I truly believe it's because they're twins and because, you know, they share something. So he struggled in his fight because his brother lost. Now, Jermell Charlo is dealing with some legal issues as of recently, this week to be exact. And, you know, I don't know how mentally that will affect Jermell because it's shown that it affects them when one of them is kind of going through something. Not to mention, I do know that for like at least 2-3 years, those two didn't like talk or hang out. And they just now got back together where, you know, they're hanging out and they're chilling with each other, which is great. You know, they're twins. Not only that, they're just brothers. So it's great. But now that they're back together and Jermell is dealing with all this legal issues, I don't know how that will affect them or affect Jermell in this upcoming bout. So that's a concern and that's a worry for me. You know, like, is it going to affect you? Are you going to be thinking about that? Will your brother even be allowed to be there? Will he be there? You know, so those are some things that I was just thinking about because I know that it affected Jermell the last time when Jermell lost. So who knows? But those are my thoughts. This was my fight breakdown. Please like this video. Please share this video. And also please subscribe to my channel.